Anyway, listen to Systematic Understanding of Everything.
Yeah.
I'm listening to it finally after being such a terrible co-host and fan. I am finally listening to Systematic Understanding of Everything, and like 80% of it I'm like, yeah, and then every so often I'll be like, wait, what? Because there's something I just didn't there's something I didn't know about Exalted.
I hope you like it. It's got BXP energy. I think
it
because
does,
I'm there.
For real. And Terry coming in with like weird shit. The Terry brand.
If you ever wanted to listen to a show with one person desperately trying to move the show along while two other people are like, that's Systematic Understanding of Everything.
Chaz's airport leash mom. Two kids going in opposite directions. Oh, Chaz.
Oh, Chaz.
You work so hard, Chaz. We appreciate you, Chaz. Welcome to Bonus Experience.
We are a podcast with a deeper look at the play experience and the finer details of running and writing games.
We are queer women speaking with authority about games.
We sure fucking are. Also, we swear.
By the way, we swear.
Yeah.
I'm mad about it.
You can die mad about it. We're not going to stop.
You can die mad about it. Oh, I'm out of coffee. Damn it.
I'm also out of seltzer.
Yeah.
I'm
seltzer,
Monica, out of a drink.
I'm Ray. I'm also out of a drink. Oh, we're sorry.
I was just gonna say developer on Scion and Exalted. Nothing special.
I'm a writer on Scion and Exalted, and a bunch of other stuff too. But same with you. Like you only mentioned Scion and Exalted, so we. Yeah.
Those are things I'm a developer on. I just worked on a bunch of other stuff too. It's not big.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm gonna get right up against my mic. My pop filter doesn't work. I sure hope that I can edit out all these popped peas.
Well, Margaret's gonna have a good time with this later.
Trying to hit it from the side. I don't know how this is gonna sound. I'm not talking. If I talk directly into the mic, it's going to go pa 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 pa. But if I go over to the side over here, what does that sound like? That's weird. My little thing doesn't. My little waveform doesn't. Anyway, today's topic comes from. Listen. I'm having a rough time. Okay. Let's just get through this.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Doing great.
Today's topic comes from the BXP Discord. I'm going to talk like a NPR.
Sure, do it.
I guess. Today's topic comes to us from the BXP Discord and can be a real challenge. How do you decide on a concept for a one-shot?
We're going to do this in the voices that we did for Fall of GR.
I'm Anana King, and this is Bonus Experience. I don't know that I could pull back. I don't know if I could bring back the voice that I did for Fall of GR. Like, I'm going to have to really get myself into it again.
It was truly inspired. Have you listened to I should post the segment.
Uh-huh.
Have you listened to my clip of me doing the Rose Black voice?
Yes, I listened to your Rose Black episode. It was fun.
Yeah.
And I was gushing at Chaz about like, that's such a cool idea. How did you pull that off with Monica? Oh my God. And that was when Chaz came back like, so did I understand you right that you want to be in on this? I was like, that would be so much fun.
We've already done an episode on running one-shots, but let's recap for the audience.
Okay.
There it is in that voice. Anyway,
I can't do this whole thing as a psycho,
okay.
as like a psychotic about to laugh. I can't.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's right. All I just did was slow down the way I talk.
Just
normally.
Slow down and get a little deep.
Yeah, just and enunciate a little bit more clearly. And apparently Julia found that unbearably hot.
Julia.
She's not home.
Julia. Oh, she's at work.
Yeah, she's at work. We've already done an episode on running one-shots, but let's recap for the audience. What is a one-shot?
It's a short game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Got any more than that?
Well, some people will take this literally and have it only go for one episode, hence the one session, hence the whole one-shot thing. But I tend to be a little more, like, I guess, flexible with that, and I'll consider anything that's 3 sessions or less, or like 9 hours or less to be a one-shot.
Okay.
Because it's basically not a long campaign. It's not a series.
Yeah, I if we want to get technical, and I always do,
Uh,
I would personally call a one-shot a game that intends to be completed in approximately one session of play.
yeah. Yeah.
It is the time in which you tell a whole story, though the one-shot is the short story to a full campaign's novel.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's like if a campaign is a novel or a whole series, then the one shot is going to be a short story or a novella or like a preview chapter or something like that. Yeah. So with that in mind, how long should you plan to run a one shot?
This all depends on your circumstances. If you are running a con game, that time frame may already be decided for you.
Yeah, you might have a hard limit on that.
Yeah, you might.
I said like 3 sessions or less, just assuming that a session would be 3 hours long. But I know there's still some like fucking daredevils out there that do that wild thing where they only game once a month for like 12 hours straight. And if that mega session were a single self-contained game, I think it'd still be a one shot.
I was thinking like, oh, I don't know, 3 hours or so, but you're right. I mean, that being said, you're in control of how long you run. And that is entirely up to you. I mean, I know that sounds like a non-answer, but while we are very smart and attractive people, we can't decide how much energy you spend on a game that you're running. You have to determine the amount of time you feel comfortable running for. So if you are picking a game to play within your comfort limits, do you think you should pick a game more suited to short-term play?
Well, I mean, not necessarily, because, there are definitely games written intended to be one-shots or self-contained games, like Alice is Missing, which is great, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I got in on the Kickstarter. Or go check out our recent episodes reviewing The Man and the Stag and Dragon Hearts, which are both intended to be, like, self-contained non-campaign games. But you can take more classic like campaign style systems and modify or house roll them for one shots very easily. For example, if you limit people from taking charms or spells or feats or whatever that have grand time scales attached to them, you don't have to worry about them having, character resources invested in things that wouldn't actually happen in the scale of the one shot. You can reduce any game currency that's meant to last an entire campaign, like Monster of the Week has this luck track where you can spend a point of luck to make sure that your character doesn't die from a hit, and that's meant to last for a whole campaign as opposed to a session. So if you give them that full amount for a one shot, these guys will be fucking indestructible, and you'll have to really like put the screws to them. I also recommend coming with pre-mades when possible for these systems. And I don't mean just PCs. I mean, like, if you're playing a Forged in the Dark game, which often has a party character sheet as opposed to a player character sheet, like Scum and Villainy has ships and Blades in the Dark has crews. I recommend filling those in for them before you basically pre-making those for them, or just doing away with them as needed, because it can take a lot of time for everyone to design by committee.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like little if you can recognize something in the system that you want to run in, that would be like, oh, but they probably wouldn't get to use that in the one session that we're playing. Just throw it out. Just don't fucking use it.
Yeah. Good advice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Choosing to play a game not specifically intended for short-term play can be kind of hard, like we just said. But lots of people manage, though. For heaven's sake, lots of people play one-shots of D&D. For something like D&D, I think I recommend keeping it to one dungeon or one mission type adventure. I think this also works for Blades in the Dark, which is very much a focused campaign game. Like, Blades in the Dark is honestly terrible for one-shots. But that doesn't mean you can't make it work.
I've run pretty successful Scum and Villainy, which is using the same system as Blades in the Dark. I've run Scum and Villainy for con games, and they were a lot of fun. But you're right that you have to be able to look at it and think about, okay, they won't be able to use this during this one shot, right. So I need to steer them away from that.
Yeah, I mean,
like, they're not going to care about their heat. You
right?
Know what I mean?
Yeah. That's not like, heat doesn't matter. You might want to change the stress track because there's no reason not to burn through the whole thing.
And downtime probably won't
downtime is
like a lot
matter.
of downtime things won't happen. Yeah. But you can still give them sorry, this will become a Forged in the Dark episode.
It will.
If I keep going.
I mean,
but yeah,
to pick on one of our other favorites, Exalted is also a terrible one-shot game.
Yeah, Exalted would be pretty rough.
You can do an Exalted game that's like, we're going to go into this tomb and look for things or whatever, or we're gonna fight this one particular monster. You could almost do a D&D style, like, here's a problem, solve it. Which will be fun, for sure. But Exalted's, like, Forged in the Dark assumes long-term play.
Yeah, at the very least, you could run like a 3-session one-shot, which is, kind of stretching the limit of what a one-shot is. But it'd be, like the jump starts for these games. Like the Exalted jump start is not, it's meant to be a jumping off point for a campaign, but it is still a self-contained thing that you could play within a set limit.
I mean, thinking about it, that one mission / one goal type adventure makes a pretty solid choice for any traditional game specifically designed for campaign play.
Yeah, when I'm thinking about like what to run for con games, the one mission / one goal is like the meat and potatoes. It goes back to, like, writing short stories. You don't want to try to just condense a whole novel into 10 pages. You just focus on one thing that you want to portray, one very specific event or conflict. But yeah, just boiling it down to, you're going to go into one dungeon, or even just like you're just doing the one floor of the dungeon can be your one shot.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's a good time to take our mid-episode break.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Do you need to go take your pills or something while I do this? Or are we doing this together? Okay.
I've taken all my pills and I don't have any coffee left, and let's...
Fantastic.
I'll actually be here for this one.
Wow. All right, to the mid-episode break room. Play the music. BXP is brought to you by the Misdirected Mark Network.
Bing!
Become a BXP patron.
My husband's here.
Hi, Gary.
Hey, baby. How was your nap? I got donuts. Do you want some? He's so handsome. He's been going to the gym for like how long now? A year straight? And he lost like 80 pounds. So I'm sorry, only 70.
Oh, okay. Only 70.
Only 7. Anyway, he's getting ripped as fuck, and it makes me feel like a 17-year-old, like, checking out the football players sometimes. It's a little, except he was never a football, but he was like a band. He was in a band, and he like would read poetry and smoke cigarettes behind the fucking bleachers. And okay, he's in the room right now, so I can't.
Yeah, become a BXP patron.
Become a BXP patron.
Patrons get to chat with us directly, hear about Ray's husband, special Discord roles, and exclusive hangouts, and you can support us for as little as $1 a month. Yeah, it's great. And I know we talked about it a couple episodes ago, but that, like, the Patreon support has been really, really, really helpful. Like, this isn't just like a high score, or, oh, we're just gonna roll around in this money. Like, it's honestly become like a kind of a side hustle source of income for me. So I mean, I can't speak to Monica, but I can definitely say that you guys have like had a direct impact on my family's like health and safety. I love you all very much. If you'd rather support BXP without committing to monthly payments, you can still buy a coffee, ko-fi.com/bonusexp, and buy our stuff. Go to bxpcast.com/bxpswag and check out our merch page. Also, don't forget BXP is sponsored by Nerdy Kepi. You can get all kinds of rad queer swag. Remember to use code BXPcast at checkout for 10% off, which never expires. I just bought
there's so much cool stuff on Nerdy Kepi.
Tell me what stickers. I just bought a fuck ton of stickers because I'm playing in that municipal softball league, and I bought a secondhand helmet, which I may never use again. So I bought super cheap. It's beat to hell, but it works, and I'm going to paint it and decorate it with stickers.
Oh my god, that's so cool. I have to go back in, and my next door neighbor, Our neighbor friends have two very gay kids, and I love them so much. And they need masks. And did you burn yourself? Oh, they need masks, and because high school is starting up, and I'm just gonna get like what are your guys' flag of choice? You want a trans mask? You want a lesbian mask? I got you covered. And I think Spider is expanding his inventory because he was talking about like a couple of his distributors have got a lot more cool shit in, and he's always like sharing like, what do you guys think of these shoes? Are these cool? Ask your resident young person if these shoes look cool enough. And always be checking that place out.
You know, I realize that we have this whole bit talking about Nerdy Kepi, but we didn't talk about how Nerdy Kepi has a whole bonus experience section.
I mean,
it's on the BXP swag page, but
yeah,
Nerdy Kepi also has exclusive BXP merch.
Yes, very good merch. Not Redbubble. Redbubble fucking stinks.
Redbubble sucks. Yep.
It sucks and stinks. It sunks.
It sunks. Yep.
That's what I was trying to say.
Perfect.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, just don't forget that saying nice things is always free, so leave us a good review on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google, wherever, and help us get more listeners, and then more patrons, and then help support Ray's family.
Yeah!
Please, sir, this is my emotional support podcast.
Thank you.
Should I do the MMP ad in the Rose Black voice?
Oh, yeah, do it.
Okay. All right, hold on. If you like bonus, If you like bonus experience, you'll also like Pandas Talking Games. Phil and Senda answer your questions about RPGs from the perspective of one-shots and campaigns, with some panda silliness. If you listen to it, you will love it, or so the rumors say.
Thank you, Ajava. Miss Ajava, Sergeant, Commander Ajava. Thank you.
I don't. General, I'm not sure.
General. I'm so glad you were able to take time away from your busy life
to do a
subjugating for the peasants. to do a bump for Pandas Talking Games. Thank you so much. So, what games make great game ping pong?
One more time.
Give me a second. Sure. What games make great one-shots?
Any of the games we've reviewed in our BXP Reads episodes are ideal for short-term play. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. Though they are also mostly improv or storytelling games, which, you might not be interested in that kind of game. That's okay. We did just talk right before the break about adapting other games for short-term play, so hey, maybe take our advice.
It seems to me like Firebrands is probably a good choice for punchy single-session games, because a couple of the narrative-based games that we've seen so far have been like Firebrands and single, like, encapsulated experiences. I also recommend a lot of the pre-made settings for Fate. They can make pretty great one-shots, given Fate's relatively lightweight system. I ran a pretty satisfying Camelot trigger game for a local game day a few years back. God, was it really a few years?
Yeah, I think
it wasn't last year. Definitely wasn't last year. Shit. God damn. Yeah, anyway, the Fates Worlds supplements are relatively inexpensive, and they come with like really great little, not just like the setting, but also like, here's some rules changes, here's some suggested scenarios. And that's what I plucked Camelot Trigger from, which is anytime we talk about like, oh, what's your favorite weird like game setting? I jump right to Camelot Trigger because it's a space mecha Arthurian legend game where all the knights have giant robots and they fight each other in space. And Merlin is like an AI, and you're fighting the rogue AI Morgana, and it's very good.
That's the name of my
recommendation. Yeah.
So having played Bluebeard's Bride once as a spooky Halloween game, which is on the Story Told as an AP, it is fantastic, and you should go listen to it. Chaz really went above and beyond editing it to make it extra scary. That was great. I had a great time, and I kind of want to do that again. Like, it's not a game I think I would want to play regularly, but play as like a Halloween game, super fun. Which I also might be willing and able to play Dread. or 10 Candles, one of those storytelling spookum games. Which is like telling ghost stories, but also a game.
Yeah, I want to get in one of those so bad, but Dread and 10 Candles both have, material components to them.
Material component, so like it's a spell.
Yes. You can't play this without your Jenga set.
I think you can play Jenga on Tabletop Sim. or knock off Jenga.
Fucking Galaxy Brain. Oh shit. Playing Dread on Tabletop Sim?
Maybe we should try playing Dread on Tabletop Sim.
Oh fuck yeah.
We could
awesome.
We could possibly. You can also stream Tabletop Sim through Discord, so we could theoretically play Dread for the patrons or Discord.
Oh my god. All right.
You know what also occurred to me? I didn't write it on the outline, but Lady fucking Blackbird.
Lady Blackbird.
Lady Blackbird. Yeah.
Lady fucking Blackbird
is a
beautiful game, free, get it, fun as hell.
Not only, let's talk about this for a second, because just struck me like lightning. It comes with pre-made characters, so you don't have to spend, you just have to pick who you want to be. It comes with a pre-packaged story about those characters, so you already know what's going on. And then you just play to see what happens and sort of make up the story as you go, and it's very much intended to be played until you're done telling the story. So you can play it for a long time, or you can just play it for a couple hours at a con. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So, now that we've talked about some good examples, how can I come up with good ideas for one-shots? Which is the crux of the whole episode, but also I want to know, this is Ray time, because I'm terrible at coming up with anything short-term.
So the good news is that a lot of like boutique or indie or single session experience sort of games come with the conceit baked right in. Like Dragon Hearts it starts off with like, you are dragons, here's the situation, here's what your goal is, now play. But if you're going for a one shot in a system or setting built to support campaigns like D&D, I recommend picking a single intriguing hook to focus on instead of coming to the table with like, I don't know, what do you guys want to do? Because then, your whole session is going to be spent on deciding what to play. I recommend an elevator pitch, like what you would expect for a movie. And in fact, I have a kind of perverse love of reskinning movies into one shots. My local gaming group still speaks really fondly of the Alien inspired one shot that I ran in Monster of the Week. For just to run with this as an example, like the hook was, you're a crew trapped on your spaceship with a hostile and murderous alien. Can you survive this alien and also each other? I came to the table with pre-mades for them to choose from, because given Monster of the Week has classes that rely on magic, and this is not, Alien doesn't have magic in it. Right. I wanted to make sure that I had like certain archetypes ready for them. I also included like a really brief backstory, including a secret that each of them had, because obviously one of them would have to secretly be an android if this is going to be an alien inspired game.
Right.
They all had severely diminished luck tracks so that they wouldn't be like unkillable machines. I reskinned the magic moves to be about hacking the ship's intelligent agent instead of like casting spells. And by the end of it, like they technically won, I guess. They survived the monster by locking the monster in the rear of the ship and like jettisoning the cockpit, like Star Trek the Enterprise style. But then the game ended on a question of whether or not their unscrupulous employee would actually like come rescue them, because they seemed really more intent on like getting the alien. So, and this is all after two of them like died messily in like really interesting ways. So it was a lot of fun. I apparently like was able to evoke that feeling of, space spookiness really well, because they still talk about it. But if you have like a favorite, like another pipe dream for me is that I'd really love to run like a Predator inspired D&D game where like the party starts with one assumption, like, okay, we're just going in here to like rescue someone that got like trapped or lost in this jungle. But then the session becomes, okay, but there's actually this monster that's way outside your CR, like hunting you down. How do you guys survive? And then that's the whole one shot. It's about like basically picking just one thing that you want to focus on, as opposed to with a campaign, you come up with the setting and all of these stakes questions and, will you convince the monarch to send their aid? Will you be able to arrange a political marriage between, and with a one shot, it's just like, there's a monster hunting you, get away. and that's, you can find 3 hours of fun in that, I promise.
I don't have better advice than that.
Yes, I have the best advice.
You know what? That was a really stupid way to phrase that. I just meant like, I don't have anything to add. That's really great. Why did I say that like an asshole?
I didn't think you were being an asshole.
Oh, okay, great. I'm glad you didn't think I was being an asshole. I thought it sounded a little dickish.
No.
But, no, that's great advice. Thank you. I've learned something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I love running one-shots, honestly. I think it's so low pressure.
I think there's some misconception that one-shots are somehow simpler or easier. And you were just...
Not necessarily.
what you described to me is a lot of work. You were like, well, I put all this thought into it of like,
yeah,
this plot, I made all these things ahead of time. I removed these resources. I took out these rules that didn't need to apply because they're for campaign play and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's a lot of work.
Honestly, I think when I try to think, okay, I'm going to run a campaign this time, I do put the same level of thought into planning the campaign, but I run out of steam actually running a campaign. With a one shot, it's like max 3 sessions, and I guess it works for my level of ADHD because I can really fixate on making this experience really, really good for a couple of sessions and not feel the pressure to continue being interested in it for any time after that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The advice for how to continue running campaigns is another episode.
That's a completely different episode.
Yeah. The crux of that, which someone else asked me that question while we were fielding questions for episodes, which is basically just you have to make it a habit. That's how you keep that's how you keep a successful campaign going.
I'm sure we could stretch a whole episode out of that because when you say make it a habit, I'm like, I don't know how to do that though. Yeah, how do habit?
Repetition.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Monica,
where
can they find our show?
You can find our show at bxpcast.com, part of the Misdirected Mark Network.
Bing! How about the email? Do they do the email?
We do the email that I do remember to check sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yep. That is bonusexpcast@gmail.com. Dee just messaged me. And I said 2:15 right, and I meant money, and I think she meant time, and she just said that works for me, and I was like, no, I'm not negotiating price, Danielle.
Dee's like, make that out to Lawson. We're on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter. It's bonusexpcast. I personally am also on Twitter. It's Ray W. Cole.
I am also on Twitter. I am at Zenith Sun.
And I think that's everything.
That is everything. I need to go get ready to do stuff.
Yes, everybody get out.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta let
and change it if you want to. I love how you always are like, at the end of the episode, you like lean away from the microphone like you're just gonna leave it.
Like I'm just gonna leave. Yeah, it's
I'm gonna go now.
It's a bit.
Like that. Yeah, it's great. I love it. Anyway, bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bonus Experience is written and produced by Monica and Ray. Their logo and art are by Nino Studios. The theme song is re-voiced with art by Analog by Nature and is used under the Attribution Non-Commercial Creative Commons license. But do you know who could use me without a Creative Commons license? Adam Driver. Deal me 20 levels of so-called lethal damage. Essential behemoth.